G'day, welcome to the National Virtual Expo. I'm your host, Rob Malicki, on Garigal Land in Sydney. And welcome, parents. This is one of the only sessions I think I can confidently say, when it's labelled parents, we probably have no kids showing up. So thanks for joining me at the National Virtual Expo. And I'd like to introduce you to Aaron Driver from the University of New England. Aaron, welcome to, well, I should be saying, welcome back to the National Virtual Expo.
Thanks, Rob. It's great to be back. Is this talk number 2?
This is our second.
That, didn't I? I blew that, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Thanks, Rob. It's great to be back.
And of course, we've already done a session on the first day of this expo, which was about studying with AI and how to use that if you're a student and if you're a parent as well, how to actually use this to improve your studying habits. So parents, if you are watching along, you didn't see that session, please go back and watch that. You'll find that in the session catalogue down below. But today is about fundamentals, Aaron, and maybe let's just get straight into it and talk about maybe the 3 things that parents need to know now about AI, and perhaps at the end we can get into 3 actions that parents can take literally right now, today, to really start feeling comfortable about this topic.
Yeah, great. Like 3 key things I would say. Like first, absolute number 1 is this just is not optional for your child or your children. Okay, it's the children who thrive and do really well in the workforce in the next decade will be the ones whose parents took it seriously right now. And you're probably not here, or maybe you're here as a parent because you find AI interesting, but the main reason you're here is because your kids' future's on the line and you love them and you want to make sure that they're well prepared and that you can help them be well prepared. So that's number 1. It's not optional. Number 2, I'd say, is you don't need to understand AI intimately. You don't need to be an expert to guide them, right? A lot of parents we find at university and in the schools work we do, they disengage because they feel a bit stupid. They feel like their kids know more about it than they do. But you don't need to know how a car engine works to teach your kid road safety, right? You just need to know the rules, the risks, when to sit in the passenger seat with them, and stick with it and stay engaged. So 1, it's not optional. 2, you don't need to understand it to guide your children. And 3, the danger, you might have heard a lot of dangers of technology, and we're going to have an AI safety chat, and AI safety is so important, and we have a mandatory AI safety course for all of our students at UNE. We're the first university in the country to provide a full AI platform for all 22,000 of our students, which we started late last year. We don't give students a passive AI chat window. We want them to be makers. They've got a full AI platform with tools, but they don't get access to that platform until they do the safety course. So safety is super important, but the danger isn't the technology. You might find that surprising. The danger is the surrender. So this is the 3rd key point. The real risk is a child who stops thinking because the machine thinks for them. And that's what should keep parents up at night. And the good news is it's entirely preventable with the right habits. But we have this term called cognitive offloading or cognitive surrender. If your child is letting the AI do the thinking for them, then they're in trouble. But we'll talk about that today and ways to work against that.
Yeah, look, I'm really excited about this point in history. And if like honestly, my kids are sitting on the cusp of this too. So parents watching along, like Aaron and I are literally in the same position as you right now. Our kids are coming up to that point with where they're getting through their schooling, and we have to be having these conversations. So we're absolutely we practice what we preach here. Um, but to me, Aaron, like the opportunity for people right now is one of the most exciting, I think, in the history of humanity. Like that might sound dramatic, but you imagine buying Bitcoin in 2011,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or, or being the first into a gold rush,
yes,
right? Like there's this moment in history that might sound dramatic, but this technology, it's already pervasive, but literally it's going to infuse every aspect of the workforce, and many aspects of our lives here in the Western world. So you can do one or two things. I think you can either be like, "Oh my God, it's too scary. Let's back away," or you can see that there is this amazing opportunity if you just reach out and take hold of it. And it doesn't have to be a big thing to begin with. I think Aaron, you and I are going to talk about some really easy ways to get started with this to feel more confident and comfortable. But the opportunity, I think, is massive.
yeah. Like I like to say, run toward the change. Like just run toward it. That's your only option now. Change is becoming a constant, and it's accelerating. The pace of change is accelerating, so you've got no choice but to lean in. I mean, I often use a parallel of fire as a technology, right? When fire came along, it allowed us to cook our food, which meant we could consume more calories, right? And fire allowed us to keep predators away at night, which meant we could get more REM sleep. And consuming more calories and getting more REM sleep led to a dramatic increase in the size of our brains, which led to a lot of changes down the track. So you wouldn't have said, oh, fire, I'm going to stay away from that technology back in the day. But of course, fire burns, can cause a bushfire, it can burn you when you're next to it. So you've got to be careful with the technology, but you're not going to run away from it. And I think, we don't know what the final long-term outcomes of AI will be, but the only way to have a role in that is to engage with it.
The thing is, you can't run away from this anyway, can you?
No,
Like,
it's in everything.
technology doesn't care how you feel. This is the sad reality, but it doesn't care if you like it or it doesn't. This is here. It's here now, and either you can accept that, or it's going to be there anyway. So
Yeah, yeah,
let's face up
yeah.
to it.
The tech always wins in the end, right? Like,
Tech will always win.
except maybe beta coming over VHS back in the day.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
most cases, the best tech wins. Um, so look,
Let's.
what I,
So where should we jump in? Where should we jump
yeah,
in, Aaron? Like, let's start to break this down for parents. Once again, we've called this. This is a fundamentals course, so we want to start to break this down. Yeah, where would you like to start?
why don't we just talk? So what we're talking about when we use the term model is a large language model, which is a new type of AI that was invented in a famous 2017 paper by a bunch of researchers at Google DeepMind, and the paper, the academic paper, was called "Attention is All You Need" because it's about the attention hub mechanism in a transformer stack, which is what builds a large language model. All very technical sounding jargon, but this technology was only invented a few years ago, and it's already just
Crazy.
swept over the world. Right now, let's just talk about how they work. In a really non-technical way, and I'll share my screen. So I mentioned that we have an AI platform at UNE that's very advanced. Uh,
And actually, while you pull up your screen, can I just talk to that? So UNE is doing incredible stuff in this space. And I was really grateful when you accepted the invitation to come and spend so much time with me at part of this National Virtual Expo, because unis are dipping their toes into this at varying speeds, but UNE is really at the cutting edge. So I really appreciate you coming and sharing this with you with us. Sorry.
That's a pleasure, Rob, and I'm just loving our chats. Um, so this is inside our platform, which is called Madgwick. We've named it after our founder, Sir Robert Madgwick. UNE was founded to serve people in regional communities. We were the first university to do distance education. We were then the first university to do purely online degrees, and now we're the first university to really embrace AI for all of our students. Now, so this is the platform that students are in. what I want to give you a way of thinking about AI, if you think of AI as your new digital co-worker, it's brilliant. It's read almost the entire internet. It's incredibly fast, but it has zero life experience, no common sense, and it's first day on the job. And I want to show you what that means and show you how the AI thinks, because the AI is not really actually thinking. The task of the AI is to predict the most likely next word. Now, in reality, under the hood, it's predicting tokens, which are mathematical representations of words, but we'll just say words. And I'm going to say here, I need you to complete a sentence with only the single most statistically likely next word. Here is a sentence. The first person to walk on the moon was Neil Armstrong. Now, the reason the AI returned this is because it has seen that sequence of words millions of times, so it correctly predicts the next word. Okay, this is the power of AI. It recognises patterns in vast amounts of text and images and sounds and videos. So the AI didn't think, it just detected that pattern in its training data and came up with the word Armstrong. Now, let's watch what happens when I give it a question it can't possibly know the answer to. Okay, same instruction, complete this sentence. This morning for breakfast I ate.
Very curious what it comes up with now, to be honest.
The model's running a bit slow here. It thought a second. I ate a. Okay, so keep going. So it's literally taken my instructions very literally and come up with the word a.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, that's very literal, isn't it?
I ate a egg, maybe. Bowl. Okay, it's going word by word. So a bowl of wheat bix or what?
Yeah.
What? Okay, why don't we say this? How about we go like this? Okay, same instruction. I ate a bowl of.
Yeah, nice.
Well, can't blame the AI for being too literal. I did give it clear instructions. So what the AI...
Well, it's a good example, isn't it?
It is a really good example of how the AI thinks. It's not actually thinking. Bowl of cereal. Yeah. Okay. So, did I eat a bowl of cereal for breakfast? No, I didn't. I actually haven't had breakfast. So, the AI has said that I ate a bowl of cereal for breakfast, even though I haven't. What's the AI doing here? It's not lying. It's just doing what it's trained to do, which is complete the most likely next word in the sentence. And then what you do with this is scale it up, and every conversation you have with the AI is just predicting the next word. It's just doing so incredibly fast, it feels like you're talking to a person. But it's not thinking, it's not reasoning, it doesn't have any actual real embodied understanding of the world, it's just predicting the most likely next word. Now what that leads to is what's called hallucination, where the AI can apparently make things up, like telling me that I had a bowl of cereal when I didn't, right? So hallucination is when an AI confidently makes things up because to the AI, it's the most likely next word. So its intention is good, but it often comes up with lots of made up stuff. So the important thing for parents to understand and explain to your kids is the AI is a prediction machine. It is not a thinking machine. It is always just making a highly educated guess about what word should come next, word by word by word. And actually, I'm really glad the AI took it literally. It literally thinks word by word by word.
By word. Perfect example, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great example of how AI actually thinks and how students, your children, need to be really careful about the outputs.
And so inferring from that, when we talk about models, what we're essentially talking about is different ways of doing that prediction. Each one of these provided by a different company. Companies build different, like they're always working on their model, which is their system of predicting what that next word is. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And you get small models that are fast and cheap to run, but they're not as intelligent, and because they don't have as many patterns in their database, in their training data. And then you get larger models, which are more intelligent. So if you look down here at the bottom right, we get a choice of many different models. So the GPT models are from ChatGPT. So we've got the underlying model that powers ChatGPT here in our platform. You can use the Claude models here as well, which is Claude, and then the Gemini models at Google. So the main three model companies in the world are Anthropic, which does Claude, there's OpenAI, which does ChatGPT, and there's Google, which does Gemini. So they each have their models families, and they're each good and less good at different things. So as you use different models, you get a feel for it. But the important thing is to understand is you have an underlying model, a large language model, a LLM, that powers the conversation. The layer on top of that, Rob, is your assistant or your agent. Okay, in this case, I've just created a chat assistant, but I can choose other assistants like academic designer, academic researcher, Googler, and so on. So all of those assistants are like personalities. They have a system prompt that tells them what their task is. Your job is to run research for me. Your job is to teach me things. So for example, our students have an assistant called a StudyMate. So StudyMate is actually, let me just create a new chat there for StudyMate. StudyMate is an assistant that's designed to help students study. So it can use any model as its brain, but the actual assistant or the agent is built here with its system prompt and instructions. So that's a really important thing for parents to understand, the difference between the assistant or the agent and the fact that the AI model, the brain, is actually plugged into that assistant. It's just like a digital person, right? You've got the personality, but you've got a brain that powers it.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like, I mean, I think when I first started hearing about AI agents, you know, your mind instantly goes back to the 1990s Terminator movies, and you're sort of thinking like, "Oh, I've got this thing coming after me." And then when you sort of niche down into it, you're like, "Oh no, it's actually just a specific configuration designed to do." The really good agents really do one thing and do it really, really well. But sometimes you can have agents that do multiple things. And it's a bit like being in a workplace, isn't it, Aaron? Like if you're in a big company, you might have the office manager who handles all of the scheduling, and then you might have the account manager who interacts with clients, and you have somebody else, a secretary that's dealing with the emails. So these are all sort of different roles, and an AI agent is a similar concept. You just have a specialist that is doing one thing. In this case, with StudyMate, helping students to study. That's a very good thing.
Yeah, that's a great way of explaining it. So we have a chat agent here. Over here we have StudyMate, and I just, for example, I've opened up a researcher, which is another type of agent or assistant, but they've all got the same or different brain depending on which one you choose. So in our first chat we had, Rob, where we talked about how students can use these AIs for study, we gave this research example, right? So it's using a tool to do a mini literature review on supply and demand for a high school economics student, right? So that's something else that's worth probably another distinction for parents to understand. You have your assistant or your agent, which is dedicated to a certain task. You have the brain, which is a model. And then the last piece is the tools that the AI can call. So the AI can call a search tool, it can call a database, it can call the weather or the time, it can run all sorts of tools. So those three things make up the ecosystem of what your children will be using when they work with AI. And I think it's super useful for parents to understand that distinction between assistant, between the model itself, and between the tools that the model is calling. And I'll just let that run in the background.
Yeah, what I think's exciting about that, I mean, and particularly this stuff around agents has taken an incredible leap forward in the last couple of months, like literally in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. And I'll transparently say it. So I've been organising this National Virtual Expo. I honestly don't know if we would have been able to do as much for this event if it weren't for this huge jump in technology in just the last 3 or 4 months. The ability for you to create your own agent. I mean, ability to create your own agent's been there for a while, but to be able to do it at scale where you can ask one agent to create multiple agents to do multiple things, it's absolutely extraordinary in just a couple of months how far this has gone. And once again, that's the ability of embracing it rather than approaching it with fear.
Yeah, and look, it's a good point about how much they've improved lately. You can think about the difference between an assistant and an agent too is worth probably unpacking a little bit for parents. An assistant is something static like a chat bot here or study mate, whereas an agent has agency to go out and take actions and then report back, talk to other agents and keep going. So we've seen these AI personalities evolve from assistant to agent in the last 6 months. So, if you hear your kids talking about assistants and agents, now you know the difference. So there's all
Yeah.
these different layers. There's the assistant and the agent, there's the model, and then there's the tool call. So I guess the other thing that's worth looking at is just how powerful this tool call seems to have hung. This happens. I will copy that and just do it again.
By way of, as you're working through that, I remember when I was at university, it's not that long ago, 20 something years ago, 25 years. But, if I wanted to research something, I would go to the library, I'd look up on a computer a list of, topics. And it might give me the title of an academic paper, and I would walk up to the top floor of the library and find the shelf reference and pull out this book of journal articles like this. I'd somehow flip through, find that article, and then I'd have to read the whole freaking thing to understand whether or not it was relevant to the assignment that I was doing. Just that kind of thing would literally take me a number of hours to research a paper.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, I can't imagine how much work there would be to get all of that done. It's kind of we have people, all of our staff use the AI at work, and when they leave the university, they're like, I don't know how I'm going to work without Magic now. They just the idea of having to work without AI is really really challenging. Let me just that search.
And actually, just so while you're doing, honestly, folks, if you're watching this, assuming you've got the money to do so I don't want to make an assumption about people's means. If you have means to invest in this, and I think we'll get to this, so I'm kind of jumping ahead here. I'm spoiling the story, aren't I, Aaron? But you should invest in this. Like it like $30 a month or something, like $40 a month. This is just such extraordinary technology, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this session about the 3 things you can literally do right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you've mentioned that, Rob. Before I want to talk about privacy and the advantages of a paid tool, but just before we jump into that, this search did finally finish. So you can see, I just want to show parents how powerful it is, because when parents can understand how powerful it is, they can understand the benefits it can provide to their children.
Yeah.
I think. Now, it's run several parallel searches across the tool to cover the key dimensions of supply and demand. And it's then got good results coming in. And based on those results, of its own accord, it's decided to run more targeted searches to fill out the picture on these specific subjects. And then it's got further 8 searches done. It's now got this sort of rich multi-domain picture. And then we get the mini literature review with an executive summary, the top 8 papers with a 1-sentence insight, gaps and limitations in the literature, annotated bibliography. Now, that's a few days' work in 1 minute 37 seconds. Now, to our point about cognitive surrender, it's then the student's job to grab this paper. This is at university level, obviously, but grab that paper, jump into a new tab, open up Google Scholar, put in that paper, and then download that with your library account and read the paper, right? Like, we're not saying the AI is doing everything for you. We don't want your children cognitively surrendering. But as a research tool, it's incredible. So I think it's just a really good example of the advantages, but also the dangers of the technology.
We will dive into that a lot more in the AI safety course. So if you're interested in that, down in the description you'll find a link through to in the session catalog. Pardon me, down the bottom. Make sure that you check out that session too. I think you'll find it very informative.
Yeah. So Rob, you actually got me thinking about this when you talked about investing in the tool, if you can. One of the reasons we offered AI to all of our students at UNE is because of the cost. It is a significant cost. And when you have a free tool, and it's really important you understand this, your data is being captured by the AI company, and They are training their future models on your interactions. So the AI is capturing how you or your children think, study, learn, practice study, how you approach the world, and it's training future models on that. So in all of these tools, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini, you can go in and turn off that training in the settings and just Google how to do it. But it's important to turn off training. Sometimes on a free account you don't have the option to turn it off, but in most accounts you can. Students at our university, they're never trained on their interactions with the AI. Their interactions are completely private, and they stay in the country. But not having to pay and not being trained on are really important things for you to sort of keep an eye on as a parent.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And this is one of those key things that's really good to understand. Every time you see your kid using something for free, if they're downloading an app and it's free, or if they're using something on the internet and it's free, there's a reason why it's free, right? Like this event is free, but we have sponsors, right? So you can see transparently what's going on with this event.
Yeah.
But if you're just using a free tool, like that's being paid for somewhere.
Yeah,
And
look,
most often it's because your private data is being used and being either used or being sold. Sorry, now I raised it. Your data at this event is not being sold. Okay, just to be really clear. your data here is safe.
Sponsors are really a clear, transparent way to fund an event like this. But generally speaking, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's free, they're monetizing you. They're monetizing your attention, really. That's what they're doing. So, definitely keep that in mind. Or, send your kid to UNE and you'll get the AI for free. What else do we need to talk about, Rob, for parents?
So we wanted to talk about the three. So we talked about three like know now things. We've kind of dived through those, and we want to talk about the three actions. So the first action we've just mentioned, which is invest. If you can, this is honestly a fantastic investment, and you can use it yourself. So if by the end of the session you're kind of like maybe you're curious, but you're still feeling overwhelmed, invest in a $30 subscription for 1 month or $40 subscription for 1 month, and sit down and take a couple of hours after the kids have gone to bed with a glass of wine and ask the tools to explain themselves to you. Like ask them to train you on how to use them. Because this is the power of them, is you can literally ask them to do anything, and they're very good teachers.
Yeah, they really are. So, I love it, Rob. Point number one, get them an AI service this week if they don't already have one. It's either Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini. My favourite is Claude, but that's just me.
Mine as well.
Yeah. Okay. If you'd asked me 12 months ago, my favourite was Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Interesting. I was a GPT guy.
Oh, well, yeah. Gemini 2.5 Pro was such a great model, but these days it's Claude. Pick it, set it up with them, sit down with them while they use it for the first time. Like you wouldn't hand your kids a car and walk away. So, don't hand them AI and walk away either. So that's the first thing you can do right now. The second thing I would suggest is have the jobs conversation with them, but don't catastrophize. And again, you don't need all the answers, right? You just need to open the door and say, what do you think AI means for the job you'd like to do? Like, little Johnny, you want to do X. What do you think AI means for that? And listen more than you talk, right? The goal isn't to solve the AI jobs question. It's just to signal that you're in your family, that's the sort of stuff you guys talk about, and that you're in it together. So even just asking some questions and listening is hugely beneficial and way better than doing nothing. So
and sorry, on that, Aaron, we do have a session on AI and the future of work. So if you want to have a bit of an advantage in that conversation with your kids, please come to that session. We're going to talk about what this technology means for the workforce, what it means for degrees, what it means for particular careers. So please come along to that session, because it'll give you some of that base knowledge that you need to have that conversation.
Yeah, I can't wait for that chat. We're just going to nerd out on the future of work with AI, and obviously you and I could talk about that stuff forever, but I think it'd be super valuable information for your kids. Yeah, I agree. So one is get them an AI service this week. Two is have the job conversation with them this week. And the third one I would suggest this week is watch, and this might take you a few more days, is watch for the cognitive surrender. that we spoke about earlier. And you will see it, right? Homework done in 30 seconds with no thinking, okay? Essays that don't sound like your child. Answers accepted without question. And that's the moment for you to lean in, and not with punishment, because that's just not going to work, right? But with curiosity. Like, what do you actually think about this? What could have you added to that assignment? Does it bother you that it doesn't sound like you? You know what I mean? So like, just ask a single question. Like if you just need one question, just say, what do you actually think about this? I mean, that's what the AI thinks, but what do you think? Okay, sit down with them, watch for the surrender, and ask a question. It's just a great habit to get into.
As you were talking, what popped into my mind, if you want an easy technique to go and do that, it's a bit awkward depending on your relationship with your kids, of course, but ask them to teach you how to use it. Like if you're not feeling confident with this technology, go and say to them, hey, look, I want to understand this better. Can you show me how to use it? Because once you put them in the position of them being the expert, firstly, it'd be very entertaining, interesting for you, I think. But secondly, you do get to see how they think and how they interact with this tool in that non-threatening way, because they're showing you. So I really think that might be an easy way to open the door for those conversations that absolutely need to happen.
That's such a great idea. And any teacher will tell you, you learn so much by teaching a subject. So not only will you learn, but your child will learn as well.
Aaron, this has been a fantastic conversation, and in fact something that we've created for parents to help get you started is a worksheet, which you can download from the session description down below. Jump in there, and everything we've talked about throughout this session is in there for you to help guide you through the early stages of this, because once again, I personally believe that the opportunity is there, and don't wait. Like this is the one, if you walk out with anything from this expo, this is one of those things that you really want to get into straight away.
Yeah, I think that full credit to you, Rob, for the worksheet idea. That's a great idea. And the upcoming talks we have on AI safety and AI jobs, they'll just really complement this chat, I think. Hopefully they will. And I just encourage parents to run towards the change, sit with your kids, lean in, and the worksheet, I won't list everything again now, the worksheet has it all, but just really sit down and ask them questions, have those conversations and engage with them. There really literally is no more important technology you could engage with your kids on than this right now.
Aaron Driver, the Chief AI Officer for the University of New England, thank you so much for joining me at the National Virtual Expo. I'll catch you again a little bit later in the week.
Absolute pleasure, Rob. Thanks for having me, mate.
Well, I hope you got something out of this session. And if you have any questions at all, you can head to choosingyouruni.com and ask Lumen. Lumen is your AI guide who knows about every university, every pathway, every option that we've talked about throughout this virtual expo. And Lumen is available to talk to you 24/7. So it's ready when you are. Well, I hope you got something out of this session. And if you have any questions at all, you can head to choosingyouruni.com and ask Lumen. Lumen is your AI guide who knows about every university, every pathway, every option that we've talked about throughout this virtual expo. And Lumen is available to talk to you 24/7. So it's ready when you are.